Y'all know why I love the word so much? It makes me fall in love with God and Christ each and every day more and more. Because there's so many things in the word that I you think that you know, because everyone thinks because they watch videos and now they're starting to have all these type of motivation and positivity and these life lessons and life morals. You understand that came from the word. Do y'all understand a lot of these things and a lot of these sayings that are actually being said into the world, that no matter, like, if you work hard and things are gonna happen, or if you do this and this, and then if you people talk about the universe and this, you understand that came from the word. The book that was that is the longest written book that has ever been in history, the most read book in history, the Bible. Because it's great how you will think that something so little, so minuscule in the word at some point is small. But if you go back and really read and see how strategic God does things, or a reason why God put certain things into the word, and why not every little thing that you wonder and question about is in the word, is because the word was never supposed to be the source. God is the source. So when you read his word, you're taking it from the source, but then you're also acknowledging the source and asking questions and thinking more and wanting to be poured into, fed more. You know what I'm saying? So it's a continuous race, endurance race, because once you make it to the end, you will receive a reward. But in the book of Exodus chapter 1 verses 19 verse 22, we go in to say that your obedience actually proves to serve more people than just yourself. You think that sometimes you make certain decisions and doing a good act is not always being given back to you. But we don't always go into things, right? We shouldn't be going into things giving and thinking that we're going to receive anything. But a lot of times, whenever you are giving and being obedient, actually, God will do so many things in your life. God might blow your mind because of something that you did that you think was small, but actually was really big for somebody else or other people. So then they get blessed, and somehow you get blessed with something that you might not even have thought about. Or maybe it's something that you thought about a long time ago and you've been struggling, whatever. And then you go in to see that God had a plan the whole time. But because you still followed in your obedience out of your fear and pain and struggle, God will bless you for that. It might not be in the way that you think it is. It might not look the way that you want it to look, but God will fulfill us in ways that we thought we could never be fulfilled, which will ultimately satisfy us in the long run because of the gratitude that you show towards him, right? So chapter 19, or verse 19, chapter 1 of the book of Exodus, it goes on to say, the midwives answered Pharaoh, Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. So God was kind to the midwives, and the people, pay attention to this, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every Hebrew boy that is born, you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. A little bit of backstory. The book of Exodus is about Moses. And God already had a plan for Moses in the beginning of his life, from the time he was born until the time he died. Because we see here that Pharaoh wanted every boy to be dead. He wanted to kill off God's people, but keep the women. But a few women, midwives who actually, they help women give birth. So whenever they get the baby, they have a choice to see if it's a boy, they must kill the boy, or if it's a girl, they keep the girl. You can imagine how many mothers were in agony just thinking about not even just the birth pain, but also the pain of possibly losing their child. So, but God saw something. God knew that these midwives, they feared God. Let alone, you know what that means? They loved God. Feared and loved God more than the fact that their punishment with Pharaoh, if Pharaoh were to find out that they were doing this, saving the boys, saving the boy that was going to end up being Moses. And then you think that is small. But their obedience did what though? So God was kind to the midwives and the people did what? They increased. So because the midwives lied to the Pharaoh and said that the Hebrew women already done gave birth before we got there, before we can actually do something about it, they still allowed them to give birth. And if they were boys, they allowed them to live. And if they were girls, they allowed them to live. But because of their obedience and their decision on doing that, something that we might feel is small, the time whenever you feel like waking up and giving money to that homeless person or saying hi to that other person or giving it your all whenever you didn't want to, and showing up at the doorstep, showing up for your family, showing up for your friends, even when they don't want you to be there, something that you feel like is small, or sometimes that is done in fear or in struggle, you feel like it's insignificant. But let me tell you something, because in the word it says that he hears your prayers. He hears everyone's prayers, and he knows the position of your heart. So if he hears your prayers and knows the position of your heart, then you cannot fail. It's only the fact that, like the video I just made, it's not the fact that you have to worry about quitting. You ain't got to worry about making it. You just have to worry about giving up before you get there. So we don't know much about these midwives. We don't know if they were praying about families of their own. We don't know what they were struggling with, but we knew that they feared God, and the fact that they were obedient to Christ and still saved lives of God's people. Then we see what he did for them. But that's only a small part in the beginning of Exodus. And I haven't even gotten to chapter 4 yet. Only did 1 through 3. And it already has blown my mind. To see that the things that we think are small to God is part of the plan. To God is big. You think that you're small, but to God you're great. To God you're a king. To God you're a queen. To God you're owned by him. To God you're a child of him. To God he will not let you starve. He will not leave you alone. He won't let you. God won't ever leave you. And if you know that if a righteous person falls 7 times and gets up 8, you will be blessed. If you know that even in times of struggle and doubt and worry, if you give it to God, you will be blessed. If you realize that we were not meant to just sit here and doom scroll and talk to a whole bunch of people and just give out empty value and chase money and just chase jobs and just chase our gift and just chase our purpose that we think that it was that was given to us, and doing all these things. When the moment when we realize that God made us uniquely and fearfully in his image to fulfill a purpose that is called to those that loves God according to their purpose. Your purpose, my purpose, your gift, and my gift is not simply something of just singing, speaking, writing, drawing, playing football, playing basketball. It's not any of that. And the quicker that we realize that, is the better off we're going to be. Because we don't need to sit here and believe that what the world feeds us is what we have to take. If you go the harder way, if you go along the path that has thorns on it, that's cracked, that's broken up, that's up and down, I promise you, there will be a reward at the end of that. There will be something that you might not be able to see or feel or touch in this life. But with the Father that looks upon us and looks down at you and sees that you are like a midwife. You are helping others be blessed, be born into a blessing, and you might feel as if you're not getting anything in return. You might not have any kids of your own. You might not have a husband or a wife of your own. But I tell you right now, if you are obedient to God and you are obedient to Christ and you see it through, God will do amazing things for you. I'm not saying he's going to give you a wife. I'm not saying he's going to give you a family. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, though, what God is going to do is fulfill you. What God is going to do is satisfy you. What God is going to do is feed you over and over again. And every day that he wakes you up, you have to know that he has a plan for you. So if you don't think that your obedience or your decisions matter, take it from the midwives. They feared God. They loved God enough to say that even though they had a king in flesh, they were to say no to him, yes to God. And people grew, and so did they. So did they. Your obedience isn't a shortcoming. Your obedience is ultimately the upcoming of a lifetime. Your obedience is ultimately an upcoming of a lifetime. But that's all I got for y'all, man. I got to get back into this word. And I hope that y'all read it. I hope that y'all are studying it and realizing like God will speak to you if you just take a little bit of time to talk to him. But I appreciate y'all as always, bro. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the video, man. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's keep growing. Let's keep studying. Keep being in our word. And as always, bro, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.